You have to bring back religion to America, because without borders, law and order, and religion, you really don't have a country anymore. We want religion brought back.
That's the tone setter. Faith as the fix for borders and orders. Before anyone plants a flag, here's a quick reality check on the Michigan story.
So the very foundation of the United States of America was indeed to be one nation under God. Nothing could have prepared me for the slew of attack against anyone who is a conservative Christian in America.
Right-wing Christianity in America has been suckered for a very long time into aligning with power and authority instead of challenging it as Christ did. Donald Trump didn't get the love of evangelicals by promising to do a damn thing Jesus commanded of us. Right-wing Christianity does not fight for the things Jesus commanded and taught us to do.
We're not doing the persecuting, doofus. So the thing is, it's so funny here. It's like, even when we have full spectrum, even when we have full spectrum dominance, Jesus called people vipers like you.
Dude, hit the other cheek.
He called this latest attack on the church in Michigan an attack on Christians in a post on his Truth Social platform. We don't actually know, as things stand, whether that was the motivation. We know that the suspect who died in all this was a former US Marine, Thomas Jacob Sanford, and he had been pictured wearing a Trump T-shirt with the slogan, "Make liberals cry again," which may be an indication that he wasn't anti-Trump. We just don't know, as things stand, what his motivation was for this. As so often with these kind of incidents,
Fair note, facts are still developing, but watch how fast this gets framed as a pattern of persecution.
Well, I mean, Trump is just following the trends. We remember what happened with Charlie Kirk when progressives tried to paint him as some right-wing graper. Turns out that was all complete and total lies. They were doing damage control. They tried to paint him out to be a right-winger, clear up until it became irrefutable that he was not anymore. And then they just changed the narrative again. So Trump is just following the trends. It is the case that Christians are persecuted in the United States, have been for a long time. And they're going to continue to be. That's kind of our cross to bear.
From cross to bear to policies, critics say this isn't persecution. It's access to weapons and who wields power. Listen to that case.
John Fugelsang, Benny Johnson posted about this attack on the church in Michigan. If a mosque was shut up every month, it would be a crisis for Muslims. If a synagogue was shut up every month, it would be a crisis for Jews. If a temple was shut up every month, it would be a crisis for Hindus. Christians, this is happening to us. Christianity is under attack. It's time to get serious about it. What's your response to that?
These preventable attacks will inspire our Christian friends on the right to want to make it a little bit harder for unstable white men to easily get weapons that are designed to kill lots of people really fast. I really hoped after the awful murder of Mr. Kirk that some of our friends on the right would agree that maybe it's far too easy for unstable 20-something males to get their hands on hardware and pop off and murder people at a political rally.
He was using an antique rifle, dude. He was using, he was using an antique rifle.
I know.
An antique bolt.
It was unsecured.
Legislation?
I didn't interrupt you once, my friend. I didn't interrupt you one time.
What legislation do you think would have even been passed that would have prevented
if his grandfather had been obliged to keep, if his grandfather had been legally obliged to keep his gun secured at home, that shooting wouldn't have happened, and the Sandy Hook shooting would not have happened.
You can't even demonstrate that's true. For all you know, the kid has the safe code.
You're not letting me finish, and you've interrupted me twice now. Piers, the deal is right-wing Christianity in America has been suckered, and you're really going to... I'm going to answer Piers's question, my friend. I didn't interrupt you. Right-wing Christianity in America has been suckered for a very long time into aligning with power and authority instead of challenging it as Christ did. Donald Trump didn't get the love of evangelicals by promising to do a damn thing Jesus commanded of us. Right-wing Christianity does not fight for the things Jesus commanded and taught us to do. Right-wing Christianity fights for conservative Christian power over every level of society. They do not fight to welcome the stranger, as Christ commands in Matthew 25 and as God commands throughout the Old Testament. They do not fight for individuals and nations to care for the sick and the poor, as commanded by Christ in the judgment of nations. They fight for right-wing conservative Christian power, and America is suffering from a gun plague where children are now killed by guns more than disease, more than they are killed by car accidents. And I keep praying this is exactly the sort of situation where a religion based on love and empathy will come to our rescue. And yet, our conservative Christian friends are locked in this mindset that somehow personal freedoms matter more than the lives of Americans.
That's the progressive critique. Less theology, more hardware and hypocrisy. And now the counterpunch from the right. Claims of coordinated attacks at home and abroad.
Yeah, you know, Piers, I was on with you the day that Charlie was shot, actually. We were talking about the murder of Irina Zarutska on the train in Charlotte, and I was very baffled by what I was hearing then. Nothing could have prepared me for the slew of attack against anyone who is a conservative Christian in America the last 30 seconds. There is not a single gun law on the books that would have prevented Charlie Kirk from being assassinated at a gun-free zone on the campus of Utah Valley University. When we saw the manifesto published to YouTube about the shooter at the Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis, you saw a very specific, detailed attack that was specifically against Christian children and their families, really warping in a very twisted demonic sense the mass with engravings and diary entries saying, "This is my body." I mean, we were watching a very coordinated attack going back to the Nashville shooting and to many other attacks on churches across the country over the past few years, of which there have been more than 500 attacks on Catholic churches in the United States in the last 5 years or so. This is clearly a specific attack against Christianity in America, but let's pretend that it's not just about America for a second, because the truth is it's not. Christianity, by the numbers, is by far and large the most persecuted religion on the face of the planet today. In Nigeria, just a few days ago, more than 60 people were killed using hammers and machetes after attending Mass at a Catholic church there in Nigeria. And I read a study the other day, feel free to fact check me on this, to any of the other panelists, that more Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria for being Christian in the last few years than Palestinians have been killed in Gaza during the midst of the Israeli-Gaza war. But you don't see any protests happening in the United States about that today. So it's ridiculous to try to create a left versus right paradigm here, or some sort of attack against the Republican Party, when there very clearly is a manifestation of spiritual warfare and demonic satanic influence in our society.
Data points, spiritual warframing, big swing, and then there's the warning from the other side about where this all leads.
Trying to attack Jesus Christ in America today.
When fascism comes to America, it won't be with swastikas and jackboots, and it will be with the Christian cross and mass recitations of the Pledge of Allegiance. You really got a glimpse of that in the rally in Arizona or rally, whatever you want to call it, the memorial service for Kirk.
So that's the fear. Faith as a costume for raw power. Supporters say that's a smear. So what do they mean by Christian nationalism in practice?
Well, not really. So the idea of Christian nationalism is just that Christians remain the culturally dominant force in the United States. That's it. That's the entire proposition.
Cultural dominance, not theocracy. That's how supporters pitch it, which drops us right into the America's founding argument.
Everything else is an addition. So the gentleman over here, for instance, got a quick question for you. Is Jesus Christ God?
I believe so, but I don't believe in imposing my opinions on others.
Okay, got you. So Jesus Christ is God. So all the religions are false?
No, I don't believe that at all. I believe in my house there are many mansions, and I believe God has many ways of the truth.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm better than anyone, because Christ's movement is about humility. Christ's movement is not about public domination and power.
I just want to make sure I got this right. Are all other religions false?
I don't believe that at all, no. And I don't believe right-wing Christianity is true either.
Is Islam
right-wing Christianity does not...
Answer my question, dude.
MAGA
is Islam
does not fight for the teachings of Christ.
Is Islam true? Is Islam true?
Islam believes in the same God as Christians. Do you believe we should welcome the stranger as God and Christ command, or do you believe in Donald Trump?
Wait, they believe Jesus Christ is God?
It's not my religion. They believe Christ is a prophet.
So then it's
the Virgin
false.
Mary is mentioned more in the Holy Quran than she's mentioned in the Bible.
I'm going to walk you through the logic here. If Jesus Christ is God,
what are the Christ teachings that Trump fights for, my friend?
Then it is the case.
What are the gospel teachings your movement fights for? Your movement uses Christ as a prop, and you legislate against his commands.
Stop filibustering.
Dude, you interrupted me.
Your question. So I was in the middle of it. I asked you a single question and was getting to the follow-up, and you go on these long diatribes.
You asked two questions.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You asked two questions, my friend.
Logically, if it's the case that Jesus Christ is God, and that is true, then Islam has to be false. And you have to proclaim that that is the case as a follower of Christ.
Yes, too bad the founding fathers didn't have that system in our country.
Well, the thing that's so funny is that you say that you're a progressive Catholic. You're worried about Christians in power. You say that Christians are out here. Oh, Andrew, Christians are out here. They should be looking at these other immigrants as religious refugees. That's what you said, your own words.
They're actually Christian refugees. At our border, they are Christian refugees that y'all have been socialized to call illegals.
Then how come?
In fact, the book of Deuteronomy is the most quoted book in America's founding documents by leaps and bounds, more than any secular text. So the very foundation of the United States of America was indeed to be one nation under God, a Christian nation.
Founding language versus modern pluralism. So where did the founders draw the line between church and state?
Founding fathers also wanted to have a separate. Hang on. The founding fathers also wanted to have a clear separation between church and state for the United States, didn't they?
Not really. They were
okay, well, that's interesting. So, Andrew, am I not right in assuming that? Andrew?
Revival or red flag? What do you want to see here? Comment revival or red flag and tell me why. If you want more side-by-side breakdowns like this, tap that like so the algorithm shows you the next one.